here. Oh man, oh man. Now I need to make sure everything still works right. Well, that works right. Yay! So the live chat is broken. That's fine. It's been like 8 months since we have done a live stream. So that makes sense, right? Oh man. Let me turn this down a little. See, one of the main things about live streaming is making sure the sound levels are fine. So please let me know in chat if the sound levels are fine. Let me see, There we go, okay. But I like to watch it, yeah. So, yes, the reason why we were gone for 8 months, you know, I have 3 kids, a teenager, and then 2 littles, like a 4.5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. And they officially have started school, which is crazy to me. But yeah, so baby is in daycare. And then, yeah, my middle child, my son, is, he's in pre-K. So pre-kindergarten. But yeah, they're gone throughout the week. Now I work during the week like a normal human being instead of working from, you know, 10:30 at night till like 4 in the morning and then waking up at 7 and being daddy at home, you know. Now I wake up at 6 something in the morning and get the kids ready and make sure they get the bus on time and all that stuff, and then I have a whole day. And I have that 5 days a week. It's crazy how much I get done now. Even in the 3 days since they've really officially kind of been there the whole time. It's nuts. I'm wrapping up my 2 Magic the Gathering pieces, which now comes to 5 that I've made for Magic, which I can't show or talk about or really even... I can mention that I'm working with them, but I can't mention on what, because I haven't announced this stuff yet. So 5 of those, 2 book covers, 4 pieces for a company I know they exist already, but like I can't talk about what the project is because I haven't announced that yet. I licensed 12 images to Troll Lord Games. There's a ton of stuff going on right now, which is great. It's a good problem to have. But as part of that, as part of all of that coming to fruition, it's like, oh, well, now I have time during the week, at least once a week, to come live and do live chat and live streams and stuff. We're doing the weekly YouTube videos. We're going to do a live stream at least once a week. Yeah, a lot going on. So, yeah, and now I can sleep. I actually go to sleep at a reasonable time, probably around midnight. So I'm only getting like 6 hours still, but that's way better than the 3.5 that I was getting for years. Oh man, so what we're doing right now is we are gonna be working kind of in Krita. I have Krita open, at least. I started sketching, and I was sketching in Leonardo, which I really love. And what ended up happening is, as I was like moving stuff around and listening to music and everything, Leonardo wasn't crashing, but something was happening to where Leonardo and basically the whole art monitor, I think it may have been the drivers for the art monitor, were messing, doing some weird stuff. But I just did a GeForce driver update, just did all that stuff. I don't think there's been a new Windows update lately, but it's something going on with that, and it happens after about 20 minutes. So I'm reverting back to Krita for today. I'm going to figure out what's going on with Leonardo stuff. I know it's still in beta, and I hadn't had any problems up to this point, but it does do a little bit more crashing lately. It might be Leonardo, like I said. I don't know exactly what's kind of going on with it, or maybe it's the way that it's working with my tablet drivers. But we're gonna be doing some Krita stuff. I've been really trying to sketch more. I'm using the ink pens for the first time really ever in there, kind of doing the smooth line stuff. Just trying to get something that looks impactful without even adding color or painting. But then what we're going to do is we're going to add painting. But there's different styles I want to try. So I thought a block out of like 4 different things on a sketch paper could work. And then that way we can like go in and it's great. I love it. But it's still a little, it's not quite ready for prime time. I can see why it's still in beta. But I'm super stoked. So super stoked that it works, and it only has 8 brushes. It's really fast. It's just whenever you're exporting stuff or you're moving stuff around kind of quick, it takes it a second to sort of feel it out. And to be fair, I'm using PureRef, which as a program is kind of janky because you can have it do a setting to where it stays on top of all of your active windows or on top of a specific program, like a specific exe file, where it's always on top. That's what it's called. And that doesn't play well with certain programs. And in fact, that might be really what's causing it, is like PureRef always has priority. And if Leonardo is built in such a way to where it needs priority on like the CPU side, who knows, right? Like there's no crashes really, so there's no way to log it, but it's like, okay, something's going on. But let's kick over. Boom. We're here in Krita. Also, you'll notice like above me, I have all the follower stuff. This is all kind of locked into YouTube now. I'm thinking I'm just specifically going to stream only to YouTube. I think I've made that choice for myself. It's easier to mitigate and manage one place instead of trying to tackle settings and upload speeds and all that to multiple places. I'm actually right now in the process of getting fiber internet. I'm going to be ordering that, and which will be great because I might be able to stream in 4K, which would be kick-ass. But I have decent internet right now. But with fiber, I wouldn't worry about upload or download speeds because it'd be a gig both ways. And that's mwah. Hell, I could do gaming streams again. I could do a whole bunch of stuff. So that's something I'm looking at. And yeah, it might even be like half the price of what I have right now. So we'll see. But let me talk about what I'm doing here. Let me move my drink so that way. Let me mute this real quick. Here we go. All right. So I am here in Krita, and I have my PureRef open. So I'm getting really big into like hard surface design. Not because I want to do it professionally. I actually don't want to do it professionally, like at all. But I want to get better at this because I think it's going to make everything else better too. Like I'm going to get more confident at making decisions on like character designs and, you know, armor placement and putting shapes onto shapes and making it all make sense seems to be a good habit to get into. So hard surface design is sort of, you know, anything mechanical works really well. Yasushi Suzuki is one of my favorite artists. So if you're a fan of like shoot 'em up video games, shmups, as a lot of people call them. So if you think of the old like R-Type, Raiden, Darius, Rayforce, you know, Thunder Force, but stuff like Ikaruga and Radiant Silvergun, these have incredible paintings. And you can see how it's very kind of watercolor, but it still mixes in some hard surface design. Like, you see what I mean? You can see the mechanics, and like your brain tells you that it could work. This could function as a spaceship. This could be. So even if it's not the most exacting, like, architectural, you're not going to be CAD designing the stuff. But it has enough greebles, it has enough kind of impact on the mechanical side of it to make it look functional. But like, I love this sort of loosey, hard round brush, sketchy, but still rendered enough to give you the idea. I really dig and the colors are great. I mean, it looks like gradient maps, and then you just kind of paint on top, which we can totally do. But like, it's super striking. Like, I love the bright orange and the black. You know what I mean? Like, there's just some sick looking stuff. And then on the flip side, there's like Dodonpachi right here. I actually ordered this. It's a really hard shoot 'em up. It's a bullet hell from Cave Software. And then Mushihime-sama. So I know this looks way more bombastic and like crazy than stuff I normally make, but I kind of dig that. I kind of dig like, how saturated can we go with the colors? It's almost like candy. You know what I mean? It's like very vibrant and I really like the rendering style because there's not really a rendering style. You see how you have the kind of watercolor look right here? Like, there's something about it that I really like. And you can kind of see the same thing here. Kind of the smudgy sort of impact here. But yeah, these are good cave shooters. And then just found this one. I can't remember the artist. I should have looked it up. But like, this is a 3D model. I think both of these are 3D models, actually. So the project's K132. So if you go on ArtStation and look up K132, this will pop right up. But you can kind of see just two values, really. You have your white, and then you have your gray for your shadows, and then the black is for the lines. And I really like that idea because you get your shadow, you get your light, it's simplified, and then the black gives you your detail. Which, you're not supposed to use black for that type of stuff, but I think it's cool. And then this was actually kind of on that Mushihime-sama side of things. But this was, like, Nijimark, I believe is how you say that. But this is a Magic the Gathering card. And, like, super cool, right? Like, I love that style. And once again, it is very almost watercolor in the way that it has... whenever you look at it, it looks to work together. Like, it looks like the colors are melding and, like, mashing. Alexander, hello. And thrown in the house. Oh, we get time to do your comic. So, yes, that's sort of what this is kind of building towards. And then, of course, Paper Blue. If you guys don't follow Paper Blue, holy crap, you should. So this is an actual oil painting. But this is how Paper Blue does Gundams. And, like, that's so sick. Like, you can still see all the canvas and stuff like that, but just that is traditional oil paint. And I was like, what a great look, because it's sketchy. You still get enough of the light and the shadow and stuff like that. But Paper Blue is... Oh, is it not? I bet they're doing a different refresh rate. Oh yeah. It says, I'm dropping frames, so that's probably why. But yeah, Paper Blue is awesome. Let me turn that down a little bit. So yeah, once again, this is another reason why I didn't do a whole lot of live streams, is it does say my frames are dropping out a little bit. That's okay. If need be, what I'll do is I'll hide my webcam, and we'll just do the art. So that way you'll get the audio fine and you'll be able to see kind of the painting, but then you won't have to worry about the syncing not matching, if that makes sense. So yeah, we'll look at that. But yes, Paper Blue is fantastic. They do a lot of cityscapes and stuff in this style as well. So that's kind of what we're working with, all right? And now let me move that over here to the side. And now, kind of what I'm working with. Using a lot of the dark grays and the blacks for, you can see my ink lines are real messy, but then I had the graphite stuff, and now I'm doing an overlay mode with gray brush for some of my like shadows, but trying to get really basic shadows in that doesn't overwhelm anything. Once again, I almost like it because it reminds me of watercolor a little bit. Then like random character, you can see kind of the same thing. I'm trying to also experiment with line weight and like, how is the weight, you know, giving us our feedback? So like you want your lighter lines in the back, like going away from us, and heavier lines up front if something's coming towards us. But you know, this type of thing. So what we can do, overlay, and it's funny because I have the opacity down. I did start this with an overlay layer, and it came very, very light. And you can see, like, as I was rearranging stuff, it got very light. So what I did is I just turned this to normal, and then just turn the opacity way down. Because normally it looks like this. And that is not great. But you lower it down a little bit, and now you're starting to get that look that I want. That way I can still work with black, but then it just appears correct. Because I have my ink that I'm going to be doing over this, but the sketch and the ink is also on a multiply layer. So anything underneath it, the line art will automatically be darker. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. So like I said, I like the sketchy look to this. I don't want to mess up anything. I don't want to mess up kind of the energy of it, but I also want to refine. Let's do... I also want to refine the designs a little bit. See, now that I'm lower opacity, I need to go down a little bit in the in the darkness level. And what I'm liking a lot is this kind of shapes on shapes type stuff. Make that a little darker. Make some of these a little darker. Like that dark, so that way the eye pops out a little more. I'm going to keep the eye really white, I think. Yeah, and really this is just an exercise in form. Because you want to make sure that the shadows cast well. And if you can sell that idea, you can kind of sell anything. Let's kind of come into this bad boy real quick, kind of see what we can do. So once again, I want to keep the eye pretty bright. Everything under here can also be darker. And so I think what I'm trying to embrace more, or at least the idea of it more, is... I know Tim McBurney has some really great videos about this, and I seem to go back to his videos a lot lately, where he talks about whenever he does his studies of like Mobius, what he notices about Mobius is how he gets contrast with local value changes. So instead of thinking of it like, because I'm very much trained to where if something is lighter or darker, that equals light or shadow. Like, I keep those things very, like, almost like an algorithm in my brain. Like, I think of it like, oh, well, this has to be darker because this is in shadow. And that's how I think about my values. But Mobius doesn't think that way. Mobius thinks more of, like, light and dark as far as what type of information are you trying to convey. It's almost like the difference between getting your contrast through shadows and highlights, or is your contrast strictly through color, where if everything's the same value, everything's a mid-tone, how do you make certain things pop more, whether you're saturation or the color wheel or complementaries or whatever? Like, what's the more effective way of giving that information? And it's still like kind of hard for me to wrap my brain around, but I'm hoping exercises like this to where, okay, this is telling me that this will be a different color than what the white is. And it doesn't matter what the color is of the robot. It doesn't matter what this color is. But the decision will be, okay, will this color and the color of like the little triangles and little semantics that I put in, like the circles and the gears and whatever, are those the same color or are they different colors? And kind of the same thing here. Like, I'm thinking of this very much in like light versus shadow, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just think of it as purely like color and see how that works. Yo, it is 11:27 in the morning. Yeah, I'm excited to be back. Like, I'm excited to be live streaming. So I'm thinking Wednesdays is going to be the day. I'll get feedback from you all. Like, if there's a day that works better, let me know. Of course, all of the videos on demand are going to be free, and you can kind of go back and watch any of the backlog whenever. But I would like, you know, to hang out with everybody. So if there is a day that works better, you know, let me know for sure. Well, it's funny, you can see my line where I did the collar around. but I need to figure out where I want her hair to be cut. I'll probably do this extended line down here and have that be kind of the cropped look. And I will say, what's kind of great about this allows me to work super freaking fast. Like, holy crap. Instead of working and trying to figure out, like, well, the value ranges and all that stuff, doing this sort of like, have your white for all of your highlights and have like a dark gray and then the black for your sketch, this is great. Like, I really am digging, because it looks effective almost immediately. Like, I don't have to stress about it too much. And see, it's stuff like this. Do I want to come in and kind of make this a little bit like watercolory like that? And try to give some of the form and the nice painterly sort of thing? Or do I want to keep it pretty stark and like this? Do you know what I mean? Like very direct. This is almost flat. Like doing flats, I guess. It's just such a different way of thinking, you know? Give us those lottery numbers. And now I'm hoping this works. If I go to overlay, and if I start putting in color, so if I'm like, okay, I want this to be red for this duder. Let's start putting in some stuff. And see, I'm doing just a little bit different pressure as I'm kind of cutting through here to hopefully give a little bit of that look. So if I just unify all of these kind of design elements, like every triangle and every sort of cutout of a different value is that red color. Let's do the reds down here too. Actually, let's do it down here. And then let's do like something a little bit different. I know if there's like comic artists are probably screaming at me that I'm not doing like the fill bucket to save an infinite amount of time, you know? We got that. Let's do that. Black and white does give a muted look. No, it's definitely a muted look. That's 100% true. But that's sort of kind of what we're going for. Yeah, this one is this sort of muted. Because see, even with these bright saturated colors, it's only like here is a pop, I think. Everything else is very grounded. Same here. Like your only real saturated colors, you would think it's the yellow, but it's not, from that red around the bullets. You know. But you can just see how stark, like how striking the values are through the painting. And like even here, this is way more painterly, but the shapes just work so well. And like, you can definitely tell with the face. And then like, really harsh highlight right here. You see what I mean? Yeah, this just looks sick. Like, this one's awesome. And see, yeah, very muted back here. But that way you get these nice little hits of like this orange, like copper almost. And it works. It works really well. Like I said, a lot of this, the backgrounds kind of look like gradient maps to me. Like you would do a gradient map and then sort of paint over with an overlay or something. Yeah, especially stuff like this. This is like almost verbatim a gradient map. And then you come in and do your kind of wash over top. And this is, no question, is this a gradient map. And they didn't even touch it afterwards. They just threw a gradient map on there and you're good to go. But like whenever it gets into, yeah, paper blue's a little bit different since that's a just pure oil painting. But like this one, it is very muted. Even though there's a lot of color, it's not, I guess it's not overwhelming to the eye. There's not a lot to look at. But then you have like Mushihime-sama, which is pretty egregious. I mean, these are, like I said, it's like candy. But it works. This totally works. You know, but even here, this is muted. I would argue this stuff right here is muted. Muted. I mean, in relation to, like, if they're just by themselves, each one of these is pretty muted. This is not really bright candy apple red. This is more of a, like, this is more of like here type of thing, right? Maybe a little bit of saturation, but it's more like a, yeah, it's more like something like this. You're not hitting this. You're not hitting these candies. You know what I mean? These big candy apples right here. It's more like down here, kind of your mid-tone sort of stuff. And only in like here are you getting that super high chroma, like bright yellow right around here, you know. Yeah, maybe the cyan hits pretty good. Yeah, that would be a pretty high impact. I love cyan. Cyan's great because it pierces through everything. It's so freaking striking that like you can make it work. So we're in Krita right now. Yeah, I'm kind of just doing the easy thing. But like, okay, let's say, let's bring in the old bug princess. That's what Mushihime-sama translates to in English. Let's bring in bug princess. And let's see what we can learn here. Because this is the type of thing that I'm interested in. Like, this is a whole different way of thinking. Like, look at the gradient for these shadows. I don't think that way. Another artist that works this way that I study a lot of, or studied a lot of, is Hyung Tae Kim. He did a kind of, I guess it's like a manga or kind of short storybook thing called Magna Carta. And his Magna Carta characters, it turned into a video game on the Xbox 360. But the style for that stuff is really intriguing to me. Let me see if I can... Yeah, let me find some of these that are like... Okay, here we go. Let me drag and drop this. Let me get a few more just to... Need to find ones that are like suitable for work. Because some of the stuff is a little raunchy, but oh, he also did the work for Blade and Soul. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so here's this. Let me bring those up. Okay. So, stuff like this. It's very kind of soft shadow, gradient looks, right? But the form is there. The form's really good. He does a very good job at doing like very subtle bounce light. But you see how it's almost like clay. You got your cast shadow right here, but then this sort of gradients out a little bit. It's a very distinct look. And I don't want to call it airbrushy because he does not use an airbrush. This isn't... I don't think you get this from an airbrush. I think this is maybe a soft round brush, but not super airbrushed. And like same thing here. It's lower resolution, but you can kind of still see it. That sort of look is really interesting to me because I don't really know how to achieve that. I'm very paint stroke driven. I like to see the grit and the brush stroke, but there ain't nothing here like that. Like I said, it's very like hard round, soft touch sort of stuff. Yeah, it's like very blendy, but with control. And I think that's cool. I think that's really cool. So if we have this, let's go ahead and actually use this as our sort of deal. I'm going to change the skin tone a little bit though. Let me come right over here. Let me get this maybe. Then we can come over here. Let me try this. Oh, see, here's where the problem is. So... That's white. Let's go. Let's just do this. There we go. It's gonna paint over a little bit. There we go. Let's just come in here and do some of this. Could do it under, but I also want it to start coming in to the paint, because see how you get those nice little handcrafted spots where it's a little more opaque and a little less transparent, a little more translucent. I think that's part of this style. And then let me go and let me darken and saturate a little bit and see something like that. Go ahead. top lip is of course going to be darker. And then you have the shadow of the bottom lip right there. Then we're going to do like the bright like that. We got like our fuchsia, maybe something like there. Yeah, this definitely would be a good way to go about like the color variation. See, we're just kind of slowly introducing this. And then that way, if I want it to be a little bit more severe or a little bit more saturated, I can push down harder. So now I'm controlling it with kind of the brush movement more so than... See what I mean? And that way you still get a little bit of the gray that's posing here, but then if we want to hit this pretty hard, you see what I mean? You can like come in like that. Yeah, see, it's starting to look like a thing now. It's starting to like have that look. And then if I want to come in and saturate this a little bit, but also darken it, that way I can kind of come over here, follow the sketch lines I have. And it still gives it that nice, like I said, it reminds me of watercolor. I don't know if it is, but like, you know what I mean? Got that. Let's darken that even more. Just going to color pick. Alright, so the values pretty well. And we can also do that here. Inside of the ear. Pick this. Outside of the ear. Then I can come back and sketch back over this if I want it first, and then in the end drop it to Rebel to add some. So that's what I normally do whenever I'm like, I've definitely done this on my magic stuff. They really enjoy magic. Is different than really any other clan I've worked with, because they really go for the tight render, especially if you have a likeness, especially if there's a certain character they need you to portray. You need to be kind of, I mean, they've spent however many millions of dollars getting that brand down. So like, you can't deviate necessarily from the design. Like, the design is kind of locked. You can put little accoutrements and put some of yourself in there, and that's cool. But they need that material to look like that material. If somebody wears silk, it better read as silk. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do it. But what's nice is then if they come back and they're like, this looks great, now go ahead and kind of make it yours, like spruce it up. I will open up Rebel, and I don't even use the paint brushes in Rebel. I pick a brush that I like the knife, the palette knives, and I just put it on blending mode. I make a duplicate of the layer. That way, because sometimes with those effects, especially in Rebel, if you use like the pigment tool with the bristle brush with the something else, what kind of goes on under the hood is it makes part of that layer transparent. That's how it gets that nice smooth transition between all your different layers. Some of those effects are kind of transparent. So I always make a duplicate of my like pristine copy, and then I'll do all my smudges and all the kind of critique stuff and like fix it on the top layer. That way, if it's blending, it blends down to the pristine version. So you kind of get the best of all the worlds, right? Like, you're not messing with it too much. And plus, if they're like, yeah, we like it, but can you tone that all that down a little bit? You just go in on that topmost layer, lower the opacity, and you're good. Like, it saves a ton of time, but you still get that nice, yeah, you still get that nice hit of like, oh, this looks painterly now, you know. Yes, yeah. So our Discord is popping off, man. It is like the skill levels are going through the roof for everybody. Like Brent posted up his, Ellen crushing it with the covers. Um like I'm seeing everybody. I was like, God, now I have to keep up. That's part of what this is. Is like, okay, I gotta expand a little bit. I gotta get out of my comfort zone and I gotta do some stuff I'm not great at just to learn how it's done and kind of see what it's all there for. Do you know? So do I know if Rebel will go on sale this year? So I know they're gonna do the full launch in September. The last I've heard is like middle of September, maybe like third week ish, and then I know if you had an older version of Rebel, you can update for a discount cost. I don't know if I haven't heard anything about this year them doing like a sale on Rebel 8 directly. Like, hey, Rebel 8 is out now. You know, upgrade time's over or whatever. Now we're going to do however many % off. Like, I haven't heard that. I would expect one in the spring. That seems to be their calendar. Is like, because I know, I can tell you this, I get my beta testing invite, like whenever they're like, hey Wes, we want you to work with us again, would you be interested in beta testing? I get that around February. So if there's a new version or some big changes that they're making, they normally see how it goes, they do their end of year wrap up, and then you get a little bit into the next year, and that's when they're already cycling through either new features for the current thing, like if it's just a tweak or like a performance update, or do they have some big things that they're going to try out and they need people to test it? I start getting those around February. Then it seems like around early spring, late May, or early April, or late April, early May is kind of where you're going to be like, hey, so-and-so % off. Hey, if you haven't gotten Rebel 8, you should probably do it. Which I do recommend getting it then if you don't jump in before that, because that locks you into the better upgrade price for the next one. Does that make sense? Like, so that way you're almost getting the new program in the fall for that year at half price. Or you're getting the current one and the new one for the full price. Does that make sense? Because you're saving 40% here and then it's only a 40% upgrade or a 30%, so you end up spending the same amount over the year as paying full price for it, but you get 2 for 1, which is cool, Fun way to buy it for the first time. I do think Rebel 8 is the one to jump on. I think moving forward, I think everything they're building on Rebel 8 is like, that's the new flatline. Like, that's their new baseline. They're going to just build on top of Rebel 8. I mean, Rick's always popping off. Skills. He's popping off at the skills. He's popping off at the mouth. He's just popping off all the time. So, we got that. We got the white. I like the white. Maybe we'll use that like teal kind of cyan color here. Where were we at there? Around here. So yeah, that's about the right value. Sure. And I'm gonna just barely kind of glaze this in. Maybe hit a little bit more. Cool. So we have that. Gotcha. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, the measurement tools are great. I love those. In in Leonardo, the fact that like zooming in and out also changes the ruler stuff and the measuring tools on the fly is sick. I love it. Like, that's great, especially because I might be doing, it's kind of a spoiler alert for the upcoming YouTube video, but I think it's going to be fun because doing Leonardo stuff in the measurements, it's nice because I'm able to export stuff out and make it fit well for, like, let's say an art book or some sort of like world building guide. I can see what the measurements are even before I export it out. It's great. Super cool. So what I'm going to do here, we have the paint, and that's fine. So yeah, we kind of got the color locking, and look, they're kind of related, right? They have the soft green, they have the kind of pastel color scheme, so that works well. We can also do kind of the same on the Gundam, and then our little duder right here, our alien duder. I thought it was cool to have 3 fingers. I was looking at what Dragon Ball character has that. Boo? Is it Boo that is the 3-finger? I did that. But anyway, I'm doing that. Let's come in and refine our design for Lady here. I don't even know her name. It's not important. Like, I'm gonna do new ink. I'm gonna move new ink up over here, and it's multiply. Let me get my sketch tools again. Pencil tilt. Okay. What author to do their next book cover? That's the best way to go. Just ask. The worst they say is no, and you weren't doing their book cover right now anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, you literally lose nothing. You lose nothing. And you gain having a contact. Even if they said no, doesn't matter. You would be surprised and amazed at how often a no eventually turns into a yes, especially in this industry. This industry is not very big. Let me edit that. Got a lobe. We got the thing and the thing. Those are very specific words for anatomy. You got the thing with the thing on your ear. Let me change that. I'm actually going to refine this. Let's add back in some nostrils. What do you say? Oh, they asked you. I misread that. Heck yeah, dude. See, even better. When they come to you, so that's the best thing about how you know you've leveled up. Is like, people will search you out. But people will talk about, how do I approach this client? How do I send in the email? How do I, format this? And I'll give that advice. But really, my advice is like, up the portfolio. Because then if you just mention it, like, here's 100% the truth. Here's the story about how I got hired on for Magic the Gathering. I applied for Magic the Gathering the first time in 2019. It was after I worked for Warhammer, and did, their tabletop role-playing game and stuff. And I was feeling good, cock of the walk, like, yeah, I'm going to do this full time. This is my career, baby. Let's go. And I wasn't ready. For what they needed, I was not ready, right? But you couldn't convince me that. So I applied like 5 times. I sent in at the art drop email. I did all sorts of stuff. I did a mentorship with Paul Canavan, who was salt of the earth. I love that guy. And Alex Heath, who's worked on like Riot Games and, all this stuff. And did a workshop with them, and, got stuff looked at and did all that, and then kept getting denied over and over and over. And I was like, come on, man. And then I got onto Varia. Varia is a card game, and it's made by some of the people that used to work at, Wizards of the Coast as like lore writers and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting there. Got like 9 or 10 cards through Varia. Okay, now I'm going to reapply. Still didn't get it. Okay. So then, throughout this whole time, I'm getting jobs here and there. I'm working at Bookish Box. I'm working at Troll Lord Games. I'm working for, I'm getting this other stuff and really getting some reps in and making great connections and working with awesome art directors, just having a ball. And then my personal stuff, like I'm doing this, I'm learning that, pushing myself this way, kind of growing this way. And then before too long, another opening comes up for Magic. And by chance, even if you go on like my Blue Sky, I think you can see this tweet or this message that I put out. So I applied again. And I was like, well, maybe 15th time is the charm. Maybe if I do it the 15th time, it's the charm. Little did I know, 4 Magic the Gathering art directors were already following me. I think I was on their radar for a while. I wonder if I just wasn't there yet. I wonder if my portfolio just wasn't quite where it needed to be. I got emails from all 4 of them within about an hour of me posting that like passive aggressive, like, well, here we go again, gang. I guess we'll just throw it at the wall and see what sticks. And it worked. That was enough to get the attention of like, oh yeah, that guy is on our radar. Oh, he still wants to work with us. Okay, sure. Got contacted. Now I'm 5 cards deep in Magic the Gathering. For one set. This is one set, dude. 5 cards for one set. You never know. You just never know. But when you have people start coming to you, that's money, dude. Because now that relationship is built and they trust you and what your vision is already. They like what they see. So like, hey, do you mind helping? Do you mind coming and putting your voice, your stamp on this? You start collaborating, you're going to level up infinitely. Because working with the client, like one-on-one like that, man, it's the best. Because they're going to tell you exactly what they need. Like this, do you mean like this? And then your confidence is going to build because you're going to see how elated they are with what your results are. Like the fact that you have interpreted what they said, you're like a magician now. You have like magically brought this idea that they had to life. You're going to lock in forever, man. You're going to follow them through thick and thin, This last book was a mashup of 70s Kung Fu and Big Trouble. Yeah, dude, that sounds rad. Someone who sucks at social media, where do you find most of your work from? Ironically enough, I'll get emails. So I have email on my portfolio and stuff. Really through ArtStation still. I think, the AI overlords have kind of ruined that website a little bit. However, there's a lot of art directors that still check it. But they're smart enough to kind of push that AI stuff to the side. But they're still there. Like, I would recommend making an ArtStation, updating it, keeping it fairly up to date with your newest stuff. At least, like, even if you have like 5 or 6 new things that you made and you just want to do one post, go ahead and do the one post and put them all there. Like, here's what I've recently been working on. Because you never know who's watching and who's looking and who's... It needs to come down. Yeah, it's weird how that works. Let me... Since there's triangles on our duder... Put a triangle there. Just to sort of... tie this together. Now let me go to ink. Which one was I doing? Was it the pen rough? Tool options, brush smoothing, yes please. Weighted, okay. So my lines are terrible, so thank God for the weighted function in these programs. And I know it's faux pas, but I kind of like the charcoaly mess of the pencil brushes. I'm just going to ink over top of it and keep them. I'm going to keep the loose sketch looks. But see how I'm selectively picking like which edges I'm inking? This is what I'm trying to practice more, is like, what is the absolute necessity to be inked as opposed to what can I keep loose, kind of like graphite. You know what I mean? Here's a do or die right here. What's up, Dave? When will the cards you're doing be viewable? I actually don't know. What I can say, magic artists usually work 1 year to a year and a half in advance of release. So if I'm working on something right now, you'll probably hear it get revealed around, I mean, I don't know. Don't be posting up on websites. Probably by the end of the year. Closer to the end of the year. But I have no clue. That's up to the mothership. That's up to Wizards of the Coast and when they want to announce stuff. But yes, it has not been announced. But it seems like the turnaround, and from what I'm hearing from my art directors and also from other artists, that I don't even know if they're... Here's why it's really secretive. Very secretive, because like I know other artists currently working on magic sets. None of us have exchanged what sets we're working on with each other. Like, we're all so like Mexican standoff, like don't say a word, like no, like, you know what I mean? Like it's funny because whenever I worked with Ravensburger, whenever I did the Star Wars board game, the Scum and Villainy, villainous game. It was a lot of fun because we knew what we were working on, and we knew when it was going to be announced. It was announced like 2 years ago, like 2023, I think, right before Gen Con, right before like, and like we were waiting for the show to happen. We're like, oh, this is gonna be sick, and like, yeah, the reveal was huge. And my Boba Fett painting, or my piece for Boba Fett, was like 20 stories tall. It was ridiculous. It was inside. It wasn't that tall, but it was like inside. It was on this big giant banner for Ravensburger. And I was like, oh man, I wish I would have known that, and I probably would have got those details a little better. I didn't know it'd be that big. But yeah, it looks like Magic works about a year and a half in advance. And since I'm working on it now, you'll probably hear about it maybe early next year, you know? Like Astrovos, I've been trying to... So yeah, simplifying is that's a big thing for me too, you know? Like, I just need to get my designs down better. And, you know, I do mention it like, oh, it would be nice if my stuff seemed more functional, kind of like this Ikaruga art and stuff. But really, it's more like... You know, can I do this? Can I make this character look cool? It's never going to be as clean as like a Mark Burnett or something. Like, his stuff is nuts. And, you know, he makes it look real easy on his channel and stuff, but what he does is not easy at all. At all. So then, what I can do now to really clean this, if I want it to look real nice and kind of spick and span, I need to get off of the multiply layer. And now I just need to come in. I wonder if this is going to work. I come to digital, basic flow opacity. And now I just kind of paint it like normal. And I kind of paint over the lines, and I paint over this other type of stuff. Like this. I'm gonna grab that, sort of make this a full... Make it not as graphite-y. You know what I mean? And then also, I do need to adjust this eye design a little bit. This will be a perfect time to do that. Let me grab this. Shadow. And we'll up the saturation a little. Let me change the trajectory of her. It's funny, she has like wing, like cat eye wingtips right here. But I need to change the shape a little bit, like this. And then also this can be her eyelash that kind of pops out. And also this. Clean that up. Oh, that's why. Ha! I was wondering, I was like, man, this brush feels different. It's because I have brush smoothing on. I do it for the inks, because I'm terrible at inking. But I'm okay at painting. So I can sort of do my thing. That, and then what you do, really hit that highlight, hit that, yay, now it's officially a character because they have the little eye glisten, you know. And here's a fun secret. If you have trouble with eyes, making eyes look either stylized or realistic, keep the, remember that the actual eye is an orb. So do it like you would do a study for an orb. So like if we do this, and I'm going to light this a little bit, hit a little bit of light, bring that little bit of light over here, like this. Then darken it a little bit right here, like it's going into the... right here. And then of course, tear duct. I'm going to pick my shadow color, make it a little more red. Something like that. And you can like, there's also your vein, like all the blood capillaries and stuff around there. Do that. Get rid of this. See, it's looking a little better. Like, it's looking more refined. I still, like I said, I still like the slightly kind of messy, dirty sketchline stuff, where it's not completely clean. I want my stuff to feel a little lived in, a little... you can see how I made certain decisions or whatever. Yeah. The unnecessary ones we can definitely get rid of, but and the nice thing about it is if I keep the sketchy lines in, it works as another form of contrast. And like, contrast is everything. It really is. Because that's what your eye notices. Your eye notices the changes. And if we want to, we can actually come in here. A little variation right there. Really hit some of those. Now what's nice is I'm going to keep the eye back here, since it's still kind of in the shadow. I'm going to keep it a little dulled out, you know. I think that's the right call. Funny. There's another artist who really inspired me growing up. Enough so, I think I checked my email, my old email address. I used to have like a Hotmail email address. And in 2005, so literally 20 years ago, I emailed Takeshi Miyazawa. Takeshi Miyazawa is a guy who's worked for Marvel, God, forever. I mean, at least 20 years now, because he just started at Marvel whenever I sent him the email. He works on like he worked on Spider-Gwen. He worked on quite a bit of stuff. But what got me super interested in him was he had a project with another artist named, I think it was Arthur De La Cruz, who I don't even know if that dude works in any industry anymore. I haven't I haven't like checked, you know. But they had a project called the BFX, the 3 letters BFX project. And it was a web comic on an old site called drunkduck.com. It's just ages me incredibly. But the style of his drawings blew me away. I thought it was the coolest thing that I had ever seen in my life. I had no clue how he did it. He still posts up on his Instagram, like he lives in Canada, I believe, and like he posts up a lot of food stuff, like food blog stuff now, as part of his socials. But for a while there, he would post up some of his sketches, and his sketches were very loose, but they had so much energy that they were like addicting. Like I wanted to see more of his sketches. I didn't necessarily care about the final look at what it looked like. You know, oh, you work at Marvel and look how cool your comic looks. I didn't care about that. I cared about his sketches. I was like, dude, these are the coolest sketches I've ever seen in my life. Like, how do you do this? And I think he emailed me back. And I think it was kind of weird. It's probably the way I would respond to an email now. Like, thanks, man. Like, all right, who's this guy? But it's so funny how that works, right? Like you email the person, you're like, I'm a big fan. And now I'm like, hey, maybe one day I'll get to work at Marvel. You know, really, I just want to sketch like him. Like, I don't even care about working for Marvel, man. I just want to sketch like Takeshi Miyazawa. 'Cause that dude's stuff is baller. Oh, thank you so much, Dave. Dude, being in the same company as Randy Vargas is like, that's life goals, man. Because I bought the Randy Vargas piece. He has his own imprint shop. And I bought Skeletal Archer. I still have it in the packaging. I think the packaging is actually... Is that it right up there? Let me get this real quick. Yes, it is. I need to frame it. Let me kick back over real quick. So it's one of mine. My wife liked the chipmunk thing that I made, so I made a print of that. But then also, I ordered one of mine, and then I ordered one of Randy's, because, yeah, his Skeletal Archer made me want to be a magic artist. It actually got me back into wanting to paint again. Whenever I saw it, it just worked for me. There was something about it. And I think I know now why there was something about it. It's because the composition is flawless. God, they package the hell out of this, don't they? So good on you, Imprint, for doing the thing. Yeah, God, that's so cool. So this is the, I need to go get the frame. I might get the frame today. I know it's kind of blurred out because my webcam, yeah, it just wants to show my face. But like, yeah, Skeletal Archer is a bona fide classic piece of fantasy art. God, they bag the hell out of this thing. This is like a it's like a supermarket bag. But yeah, there's old Duder. There's the old squirrel. Yeah, my wife loved that one. She was like, why don't you paint more stuff like that? Alright. But yeah, I need to get a frame for old Skelly there. So, fun intermission there. Put that back in. Whoop. There we go. It just seemed like something, yeah. Yeah, it really, so that's a good point, Dave. So something that's really interesting. I don't think I've said this or told anyone this before. So I posted that video about how much I made last year. And like, I genuinely, when I posted the video, I kind of let out the big sigh, right? And I was like, all right. It's done. Like, it's done. You know, that night or the night before, I was already putting in like job applications, you know, all that stuff. I finally, after I posted the video, I came to terms with the fact, and really came to terms with the fact that like, okay, I gave it my best shot. I tried my best. I got some cool stories. I got to work on Warhammer, and I got to work with the League of Legends team. I got to do book covers. I got to work with like freaking Percy Jackson. Like, it went well. It was a success. Monetarily, it didn't match up, but it is what it is. Fun career. Great. Now I'm going to go back to retail or sales, or, you know, try to go back to the college I came from. I used to work at the college as like tech support, the main tech support guy, kind of the head of that whole thing. Let's make some phone calls. Let's use our networking. Let's do it. Let's figure it out. Let's, you know, do a career. 20 hours later, I get the emails from Magic the Gathering. Not even a day went by. And like, genuinely, I went through that whole, like, it was the acceptance part of grief or whatever. You know how you have your stages? I got to the acceptance part. I was like, I gave it my best. I know I'm skilled at this thing. Maybe being skilled at it and the journey was the destination. Maybe there's no, you know what I mean? Like, I got to that spot and I was like, okay, let's figure stuff out. And then I get the email. Then after that, I get this email from this other company I'm working with right now. And I have done 30 paintings for them so far. I got 4 more in the pipe. I might be doing their cover. Like, where's all this coming from? And the timing now works out to where I'm able to live stream like this during the day. I'm able to get a Monday through Friday, literally 8 to 5, essentially, every single day. Like, all the stuff started opening up again. And I'm like, okay, now it's time to put up or shut up. Like, I could use the excuse, hey, my schedule was weird. You know, the kids were too young. I couldn't quite balance the work-life balance. I couldn't do all that. That's all whatever now. It's like, oh, well, now, all right, hotshot, you think you got it? Like, I'm going to give you 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, every single week of the year. Like, push. Like, push. Do it. Like, and push come to shove, it didn't help matters that whenever I reapplied at the place I used to work, I did the interview process and they went with somebody else. So maybe that's a sign too. I came home and I was like, well, they didn't want me, so maybe I can come all the way in and do this. And part of that is working on my own IP and releasing my own stuff and doing more tutorials and like, you know, let's figure that side of it out. And that's what part of this is, you know. That is definitely what this is going to be too. This is leading up to something. All of this study, all of this kind of trying new things, working in different methods, live streaming stuff, because this stuff I'm legally allowed to live stream because it's mine. You know, I can show you guys what I'm working on. Shape right there. All right. All right, sure, that's readable, right? That works well. Yeah. I know it is different than, you know, Real Bug Princess, and see how they kind of do. Oh, they did multiple highlight hits, and they do highlights on everything, on the hair. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I need to come and do some hair highlights real quick before we call this one a wrap. But see, I don't know how to highlight anime hair. I don't know how to do it. Isn't it like the squiggly? It's almost like a little... Oh, that's not good. No. Nope. That ain't it. That is not it. That ain't the one, kids. No, 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 no. Nope. Maybe that's a little better. Maybe we'll just bring it down a little bit, you know? See, and this needs to be behind. There's another thing I'm kind of working on right now, as far as like a theory. Is normally I have it ingrained in my brain that the darker something is, the closer it is to the viewer. Do you know what I mean? The darker, the closer. So like this hair would be this color, while this would be this color, even if it's... Do you know what I mean? Like that right here which is, I mean, that's theoretically correct. Like that is how physics works. That's how light works. But how would I be able to get good contrast? Because I want this to be light. I want her hair to be very light. So the shadow has to be darker. But the shadow's also behind the hair. The shadow's back here. I guess since it's on the same plane, like here's my art theory brain. It's on the same plane, so darker could be shadow. But if it's further, like if everything's closer to us on another plane, all of that stuff is darker. So the highlights are darker, the shadows are darker, everything's darker. You know, if we use that algorithm that your midtones have to be here, your highlights have to be here, and your shadows have to be here. Well, now essentially your foreground is all shadow. It's all your darker. You're locked into your darks. But that's where I'm trying to like play around a little bit, because I'm trying to test that theory, because I know it works, but can it work by not being that too? Do you know what I mean? Like, can I break that rule and still have it work the way I think it looks right? That's kind of where I'm at in my art journey now, is like, all this stuff that kind of got me a career and all this, what if it's not exactly right as far as what my end result should be? You know, what if I can test it? What if I can like put it through the ringer and kind of see what happens, you know? There we go. That patch feels better now because it's the correct angle on the form. We'll keep that loose. That's fine. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Like, whenever I showed my wife the email, she didn't quite know what she was looking at first. She was like, wait. I was like, yeah. She was like, well, no, wait. I was like, yep. It was a bizarre... But I think I'm wondering, you know, because I'm a believer in like karma and that type of stuff, you know. I don't got all the answers, but, you know, I do believe that if you put good into the world, good things happen. I do believe I had to get mentally to that spot to where I was fine giving it up. Does that make sense? Like, I had to literally do the thing where I came to terms with the fact that, okay, maybe you don't do this as a career anymore. And that's okay. You're not less of a person. You're not, you know what I mean? Like, you tried your best. You did very good things. You brought joy to people. And then, you know, curtain close. Like, I think I had to get there for the universe at large to be like, all right, you're ready. You're ready. You're ready for the thing now. Seriously, just, and I genuinely say this as what I would consider definitely an artist in progress type thing. Just keep at it. The time you're spending now doing the leveling up, the time you're spending now doing that type of thing, and pushing yourself to the limit and doing studies and master studies and like even your own thing, all of that is building it. All of that is building it up. And you're going to get there. I will also say that Magic is putting out an insane amount of product lately. Like, they're going to need artists. You might think it's oversaturated. They're constantly looking for new people. So if that's your goal, you know, and same thing for D&D. To be fair, I mean, I would love to work on D&D. I haven't gotten that call yet, but I'm in the Wizards of the Coast door. Like, they let me in. You know what I mean? Like, they sort of like, okay, work on this product. Work on this project with us. And then who knows if that art director goes to work on something for D&D, they have their posse of people that they like working with. They will contact you. And that's why, never look the gift horse in the mouth. Any sort of gig that you have that you're slightly interested in, that you think is going to raise up your portfolio, do it. Just do it. Even if the pay's not exactly what you want, and definitely don't work for free. Get paid something and get paid what you're worth and make sure the contract's looking good and all that stuff and you're not getting hosed. But do the gig. Do the thing to get the experience. Because then you never know who you're going to be working with and what they are going to be working on later. So, do your best for your art director. Be very collaborative. Because if they get a gig, they're going to want people that they know they can trust. Because now you have to think, those art directors, that's a hard job, man. You have to wrangle all these cats. Artists, famously are not the easiest people to work with sometimes. So if you're not a diva and you get your stuff turned in on time, preferably early, and it's of the quality they need, you take criticism, not even criticism, but just feedback. Because you will get feedback. Hey, we need you to adjust the lighting here. Hey, this rendering's not quite right yet. That type of stuff. You can't take any of that personally. And, it's my style, man. No. Just do what they say. Just do it. You're making their art, not the other way around. If you do that and you're not trouble, you will get continued work. I always say, whenever I do my one-on-ones and stuff with people, I don't care if you get the job once. I care that you get the job twice. Because once could be a happy accident. You could finish the thing and they're like, yeah, no, it's a pleasure to work with you. All right, we'll see you around. And then they could be like, oh, I'm never working with them again. They were demanding, they were this, they were that. But if you're great to work with, they will knock on your door again. They will want to work with you. No question. And that's how you know you made it. Funny, I kind of don't want to mess with this too much. I sort of like that this one's not particularly in the weeds as far as rendering, and I will come and kind of clean up these edges. Let's make that a circle, why not? And then let's come in here, make that an edge. So we got that. All right. I'm just sort of sketching with this bigger brush. Here we go. So who knew the secret to decent line work was just death by 1,000 cuts? Just doop, 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 do little bits of... But how do I... The women! How do I get the women? I don't know, being a nerd really worked for me. It really did. I don't know how. Like, I just had to embrace not being like I'm decently athletic and stuff like that, but like I never really liked doing the athlete stuff. And like I go to the gym still, and like I've done more like body weight, or not body weight, like I've done more heavy lifts now that I'm older, and like bodybuilding and all that stuff. But I don't do it for aesthetics now. I do it to make sure I don't, die of a heart attack. So it's different. I don't care about the vanity of going to the gym or whatever. Like, I just want to, live to see my kids get married. That type of thing. Like, you want to be around for stuff now. And also, and this sounds really weird, and I guess it's sort of like egocentric, I'm interested at how good will I be, or will I be 10 times better when I'm 55 or 60 at art. Like, if I keep putting in the time, I'm 39 now. So if I get another 15, 20, 25 years out of the craft, what am I going to work on? What projects are going to exist? Like, am I going to publish my stuff? Like, I want to see how that goes. So that's actually why I go to the gym and do my gym stuff. This week I've been kind of slacking because I'm so excited I have so much time right now to do art things. I'm like, yay! And the magic deadlines for this second batch, they're due next week. So I gotta like hunker down and focus, But this stuff's really relaxing because I can practice things with no pressure and just figure out what I like and what I don't. Let's see. Is that all I did on the new ink? Oh, I did her ink too. Okay, that's fine. I was like, is that all I did? Was these two little things on him? No. You should get glasses. What you should also do is, unless you okay, we're about to go down Nerd Central here. So I'm gonna be going to Texas Showdown next year. I went this past year and I put a video on the channel and people were like, what the hell is this? Because it was a video game thing on my art channel. So that's why I opened up the video game channel. But anyways, I now have dedicated fight pads and fight sticks, and I custom built a fight stick with like Breath of Fire 3 art. That way I can take it to Texas Showdown with me and play like Street Fighter 6 and Grand Blue Fantasy Versus and stuff against people and lose terribly. So like modding out Japanese parts on an arcade stick, we're getting deep in the weeds. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm putting a compilation thing together, and like I'm with all this art stuff that we're doing right here, like hell, this is from a Japanese shmup. This is from a Japanese shmup. I've been playing Front Mission. We're digging deep, brother. Like, the nerd cred has to go, like, I can tell you the difference between, your Ikarugas and your Radiant Silvergun for the Sega Saturn. Like, you gotta... the minutia is so small. Yeah, I got the arcade machine too, the one up, and I did the retro arc stuff. I put up, I think it says like 17,000 games, which is ridiculous, but hey, it's a great way to play Dodonpachi on the arcade. I'm gonna try something real quick here. Can I? Will Krita let me do this? Krita? I need to test something real quick. Copy, merge, edit, paste. Okay. Okay. So we got that. I need select, deselect, filter, adjust. Is it here? Where is it? Where is it? Statistic. Blur. Gradient map. Yes. Yes. Okay. Here's what we're going to do here. Remember how I talked about this? We're doing gradient maps. We have stuff like that. And then you paint on top of it. That's what we're going to do. Gradient map. So if you don't know the secret, lovely nature of gradient maps, let me be the one to convert you, okay? A gradient map is a way that you tie specific colors to specific value ranges. Therefore, what you want to do, this is a great way to learn, and I talk about this in my Simplifying Color Theory Part 2. We introduced this idea in Part 1, but I really dig in deep in Part 2, where we talk about chroma. Every color lives in a certain place. So your blues are automatically darker than your yellows. Your purples, I mean, you can see the little color wheel here, and then based on, even if we go to 50%, you can see the values. Your reds are your darker midtones, your blues are your shadows, your greens and your cyans like to live in kind of the upper midtone registry. Cyan and yellow love the really brights. That's where the color is the most itself. Like, you can't really have dark yellow. Dark yellow just looks like a green, brown mud thing. Like, you know, it can be... You know, it can be... I'm sorry, my watch says low battery. You can technically have a fully saturated yellow that's dark and it looks like garbage. It looks really bad. It's like mustardy. It's weird. You wouldn't think of it as yellow. But with a gradient map, you can choose. If we do gradient colors. So we do gradient colors here. Let me... I don't want to do that. I want to do this. I want this to be black. Opacity at... Okay, so... let's choose a gradient preset here. So that way you can kind of see what we're looking at. Let's make like this cool insect color right here, right? Okay. So what this is telling us is that everything light at opacity 100%, so it's full opacity, but everything your brightest brights are going to be this green color, right? Which, if we look at HSV, it is at 98% brightness. So this is absolutely true. So even if we wanted 100% brightness, and we wanted to crank the saturation, you can see whenever we get out of here, we're going to hit OK. We're going to hit OK. Now you see how it kind of adjusted that, right? It kind of makes everything else muddy, but gradient map, let's do filter, map, gradient map. Choose gradient preset, let's go back to it. Got this, it's going to preview it a little bit. So you have this. So let's say I wanted to adjust the brightness on this and not really change the value too much. Because if we see here, if the middle point is 50%, this is at about, this is at the 32.73%. So this is a 3. If we have a 10-point or a 9-point value scale, this is at a 3 out of the 10. So it's pretty dark. So what I want to do, I want to make sure the value matches about 32%. Because it's going to look more correct at that level because it's following the gradient scale correctly. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to do something like that. We have those right here. I'm going to choose this. This is going to update. Then I need this to come over here. I need to blend the, oh, I just made a new spot. I accidentally let go of it. It's running a little laggy, which is why it's a little weird. So let me do this. Let me delete that stop. Let me just move this one. Let me move this one a little. Actually, let's crunch these down. Because you see now that it made everything too dark, because now the value of the color does not correspond with the value on the map. So that's why you want to come in here, you lower this back down, kind of see where it is. And this color, I can actually change this. Let's change it to like a yellow, right? See that? Let's come back a little more. I like the kind of greenish look. Let's change this. Be a little more blue. See what happens. That's cool. Okay. So we got that, right? We got that. Cool. Now what I'm going to do, let me select. I'm going to get Magic Wand. Magic Wand, where are you? Here it is. Delete. Boop. Delete. Boop. Now I can come in and start cleaning this up a little bit. This is almost like a very Dave Raposa way of working. Like I really, whenever I was drawing this, I was like, this kind of reminds me of a Dave Raposa thing. So select, deselect. And now we have something. We kind of started with something and it saves a little bit of time, you know? Which is cool. That's real fun, you know. It's easy. You don't have to mess with it. You don't have to worry about it. But what we can do, we can come up here and now we can overlay and now pick whatever colors we want, right? This is just a super great... Another person that does this really well is Peter Moorbacher. Peter Moorbacher, he has his free gradient maps. I highly suggest you download them. But let's say we want this to be a bright red now. Let's do that. Come over here to a red. Saturate this bad boy. Oh, but it's overlay. So it's not super saturated. Let's actually lighten it then. That's going to bring it a little more red. But keep it within that same deal right there. Same thing here. And see how, since it's on overlay, it's doing other weird stuff to the colors around it? That's actually a great way to go, I think. And then let's do like a nice cyan blue. Yeah, this type of deal. And we'll kind of like come in here. Work that. And since it's overlay, we're also not changing the value structure too much, right? It's a super fun, quick way to get some stuff in here. And then, of course, let's get the skin tone. Get this a little more peachy. Let's actually crank up that saturation a little bit. And let's also darken it, just to kind of see where we're at. There we go. Oh, see how it's doing a cool, like, I'll have to work out this math. Maybe red, bring the red down a little bit. There we go. It's just a different vibe, you know what I mean? So I have something like that. Ooh, I know what we can do. Now we can hit this with some highlight real quick. Come over here. Yeah. See, this is... I don't know. Might be a little cheesy, but I don't care. I think that looks awesome. Get some of this. And notice that it doesn't have to be like super exact, right? So that's looking cool. The real secret is how do you turn this into like a painterly thing? And I think that's the $1 million question, is like, how do you make something that's very specific as far as like the shapes are sharp and like the character is, you know, maybe stylized, or you'd say anime or manga or whatever. But like, how do you make that look painterly? And once again, like this sort of thing. It is very much closer to just a study of a portrait. So it's like hitting that balance of like believability. Like this looks like a real person rather than yeah. So the believability of it. So you can see that stylized, and it's the same thing as like see, I wouldn't call that painterly. I don't think Hyung Tae Kim's stuff is painterly. I don't think this is painterly. Like, I wouldn't call it that. This I definitely would. And see, you can even still see the line. I was about to say, oh, it's probably because there's no lines. No, there's line. There's definitely line. Same thing here. I mean, less so, because you see there's no real line. You just get the different value and the different lighting changes and, yeah, stuff like this. I think I didn't get the form. mean, there's definitely a line here. So... this overlay, and then we come here, and then yeah, if we start cleaning this up, yo Julio, what's up, man? So if we start cleaning this, let's do that. It's funny with people that can sketch really well, and like they show off like characters and stuff like that. I always think like, wow, look at how confident their lines are. Look at how confident their design is. Look at how confident. But ironically, I wonder, are they just kind of doing what I'm doing? And like coming back after the fact and carving stuff out? You know, I mean, some of them have to be, right? You know, and then if we like got rid of that line and like sort of did that type of thing. See, I wonder if just coming across here and then like hitting these highlights up might be the thing. Take that, let me up the red, bring up the brightness. So yeah, maybe it is death by a thousand cuts. You just keep coming in, you keep grinding these details out, you keep refining your edge, redrawing over it, color picking. You know, kind of cleaning it for the sake of cleaning. Taking a new layer and draw it again. Yeah, so that's the thing, is I love the look and the feel of like the sketch underneath still being present. I always like that stuff. Because I think what it does is it tickles the part of my brain that likes impressionist painting, and like, you know, the Anders Zorn and John Singer Sargent, to where you sort of have to like interact with the painting. You have to solve some of the problem mentally, like with what you're looking at. So it's like you're engaged in the artwork, because not all of the answers have been given to you. Like a lot of them have, you know. So like here, for instance, you know, I because of the way the shadows fall and stuff like that, you know, kind of what the form is, but not really. Like, it's not so well developed that you're like, oh, I know exactly how this works and what this is, and, you know. Because if you give all the answers right away, the piece isn't interesting anymore, in my opinion. I think the viewer gets bored and they kind of get what they need immediately. And I don't know if that's the right, you know. I'll put it this way. My designs are not good enough to warrant that type of like, no, I figured it all out. Like, look at my amazing thing. And you're a passive, like, you know, you're a bystander, and you're like, no, I want people to be engaged with the piece as well. Because, yeah, I don't have that technical wherewithal. Like, I just don't. It's not part of my strength. Someone like Geiger or someone like Sid Mead, these geniuses, like, they are architects as much as they are artists. You know what I mean? They're very design focused. They're very exacting in their nature. Even though Geiger did a lot of like natural-esque stuff, it's still designed to a T, you know, and that's just how that is. Like, he can get away with it. He can get away with being like, no, this is my design, you're looking at it, enjoy. But me, I'm like, well, let's have the audience also be part of this. So we're going to keep some of the sketch lines. We're going to keep some of this construction. You know, I'll make sure that the silhouette is cool. Like, I'll make sure that this is a nice, sharp kind of outline. Because it will tell you where to look. But everything within it is kind of open to interpretation. You know? And what's cool is, like, the bottom part, I just don't even really care about all that much. So we're not even going to worry about, like, refining or See, and this is a hand. This is supposed to be the top of the hand, but it's funny. This curve almost makes it look like his hand is like, you know, or I guess it's this other one, but like spun in a way, like the wrist is doing a thing. So that's the type of thing. If you keep it loose, you can go in and kind of fix something. But really what you're doing is you're seeing how it looks, and then you're like, oh, yeah, that kind of looks like that, so let me try that. It's funny, in the Discord, me and Rick were talking about that last night with Carl Kopinski. The way he does his artwork, it's magic. What he does is he just does like loops and weird squiggles and all this other stuff, and then he'll come in with an ink pen and be like, oh, here's the character, and like out of those squiggles he makes a thing. And it's like, bro, you're crazy. How do you do that? See, like this looks like a little something. So I'm just going to put that same little something over here. So now it looks intentional. But it's not. It's just a thing. I don't know what it is, but... And then, like, kind of keep the motif there. Actually, I kind of like that weird squiggle line. Like, who knows what that is, you know? So yeah, it's like, what do we want to get rid of? What do we want to keep? I think that's all part of the equation. If we come here, and then we do... some of the heavier, quote-unquote, lines around here to sort of frame the face. Here, let me grab that and then come up here. Sort of blend these in together. There we go. That sharp. That fairly sharp. That fairly sharp. There we go. So that kind of overlaps that. What if I want to come in here? Do like... almost like a bounce light sort of thing. I don't know. I don't know if that works. Yeah, I'm not sure that works. Actually, I forgot to get this. There you go. Boop. And then, actually, that arm, I want that to be... It's funny, I kind of did everything with this basic flow opacity brush, but that's fine. So, yeah, that's looking cool, right? Something a little different, a little more vibrant color than I normally use. And yeah, I dig how sketchy this looks. It's funny, I almost don't want to mess with this one. Right? Because I think if we have the varying amounts of like finish or detail or color or whatever, I think it gives a nice variety of stuff to look at. So yeah, I think that works. It's a decent little sci-fi page of something, right? Actually, let me do something real quick. If the light's coming from up here, kind of following the same angle. Let's color it like an eyeball. There we go. Cool. So there's my take on like weird Gundam Macross, late 80s, you know, early 90s. Like world building sort of thing. It's not very original because this is just essentially, you know, looking at Macross and stuff. But like cool pilots doing weird things, and then you have your different, you know, your different robots and mecha and stuff like that. I think it'd be cool to make little short stories or something. Well, what we could do to really start putting this over the top is if you kind of if we know where the light's coming from, we kind of do this. You know, we already have these, but start getting highlights on top of the armor in spots like this. There it is. That way it does overlap, you know. And it's actually facing away a little bit, so let's make this a darker green. And what's fun, I wonder if since I made this a merged layer, I can't quite do the thing. But kind of color the line. If you go on like an overlay layer, let's try that. Would it be an overlay layer? And then like, yeah, a little bit. All right, yeah, a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna color pick the local colors around this, and then the lines are also gonna pick up on some of this color. So without us having to like go in and redo a lot of this line stuff, we're gonna hit the line art with a little bit of the color around it. You see what I mean? How it's starting to like pick up a little bit. And that might be that last little bit to sort of integrate this in a little better. Yeah, see how it's sort of, it's not pitch black line art anymore. And it's giving it a little pop of color around. Just that nice little last step to sort of tie this in together. That way we still keep some of the black line, you know, we keep some of that sketchy look, but we'll zoom out and it should have the nice little effect that we're going for. It is subtle. It's not like an earth-shattering change or anything, but it just shows that you spend a little more time, you know, kind of going around and yeah, see how it kind of lightened it a little bit? I think some places it worked better than others. So, like, I might actually erase it from right here. Because I like this very distinct separation. Right there on the helmet. I think on the skin it works great. No, that works good. All right. So yeah, there's some sci-fi shenanigans. You know? Got that. And what's really cool is whenever you can take line art like this or something. And then if we, you get something like Rebel, and then you do some really thick brushwork, like splashes in the back. It's a cool look. It's a little different than what I'm going for here. Not to say that this is like way cleaner, but I did want this to appear a little more confident than like hiding behind brushstrokes. Because I do have a tendency to do that, you know. It's what brought me to the dance, you know. It's what got me contracts and stuff, is the painterly stuff. But, you know, pushing muscles and, like, you know, developing this idea of use the hard round brush. I mean, you notice I didn't use a texture brush really this whole time besides a pencil. And we did a little bit of the ink, but the ink was a really straight, solid line. And the basic opacity brush. And that's all we used. Maybe that'll be another video soon, as like, hey, just use your 2 brushes. You know, you don't need big brush packs, you don't need fancy effects, you don't need all that stuff. If we can just nail down the decent drawing, not even great, because I still don't think I'm a very good, like, sketcher, drawer. Like, that's not my forte. It's just not confident. I don't have that muscle memory yet. But, you know, if you just do those basics, it's gonna take you a long way. Yeah, there we go. We'll get that. I don't know why the live chat goes away. It was like filled earlier. Let me do chat box. Let me check something real quick. Always show messages. Show moderator. Yeah. Browser settings. Custom code. Well, it should still be there. Oh well. Yeah, so there we go. There's the stream, gang. So we were live for almost 3 hours this time. So yeah, I'll be going live once a week. Once a week on Wednesdays around the same time. Maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later. But, you know, I have some more magic stuff to work on. Got to turn in one of them tonight, and then the other one's due next week. So, gonna finish that stuff up. But guys, it was a super blast to hang out. It feels good. This was the first stream back after 8 months away, which is nuts. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. And yeah, we're gonna start off with just once a week. If demand really starts kind of skyrocketing, I could probably do more. Especially whenever we're wrapping up the kind of NDA stuff that I'm working on that I can't show or display or talk about really. Once we're doing personal stuff and I kind of have that full schedule out, we can definitely we can maybe up those numbers. We can up those numbers. The once a week is rookie numbers. We'll up the numbers. But yeah, so I mean, because yeah, I'm interested in kind of developing a story kind of world building book. I talk a little bit about it in the upcoming YouTube video, which is going to have this footage all kind of sped up that we worked on the stream. But we have that. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. That's my time. I'll be working on more sci-fi stuff. I'm gonna probably post these sketches up, maybe make them each individually their own little sketch and post them up. Gotta farm that content, as it were. I demand more. So yeah, we'll start with once a week and we'll see how this goes. But really, because a lot of my time is spent on the NDA stuff, on the stuff I cannot show anybody. So of course we can't stream that, you know what I mean? But maybe we'll work something out. But yeah, I love it, man. This is fun. I love doing the real-time talk, and I love doing the basically showing examples, right then and there, or getting immediate feedback, or let's try this versus this, and then you guys get feedback. It's really cool. So thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you all very much. And I gotta post up some more art for sure. Once I nail down these NDA ones, I'll be good. But yeah, we'll do more sketches like this. Just kind of hang out and see what goofiness we can get into. Because the nice thing is, I don't know if I even showed you guys, that canvas was like 8,000 by 8,000 at 300 DPI. So these sketches could go in a published book easily. I can just kind of cut it out and then put it on a page and we're done. So I'm working very large because I want to keep this stuff and, maybe make something out of it. We'll see. It could start off as a PDF, maybe a Kindle ebook or something. And then if there's demand, we can make some physical books. That'd be cool. But that's my time. I'm Wes, and you guys are awesome, as always. But thanks for hanging out. We will see you on YouTube here in the next day. I should have the video up by Friday. And it's a good one. I like the narration on it. It's kind of a, develop your skills. You got this. Make your weakness not your weakness anymore. That's sort of what this stream was, and that's what the video is going to be about. So we will see you on YouTube, but until then, take care, go make cool art, you know the drill, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.